And Waltman says, okay, I'll say it. Why didn't the CFO take a sabbatical leave of absence 3 or 4 months ago in her husband's medical issues? Why quit before earnings call, medical or not? Something's up, and you'll never convince me otherwise. And that's fair, Waltman. We're going to talk a little bit about this today, but I highly doubt too many of us are going to get.
We can get into it right away.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, when it comes to stuff like this, I hate getting too conspiratorial. Because he may have been in care for 3-4 months, but that doesn't mean he's not taking a turn for the worse or something like that, to where she may have to concentrate more on that or something like that. Again, I don't want to. When it comes to things like this, I don't like to conspiratize, a family medical situation or a personal medical situation. But Andre, why don't you take us through what's really going on here, so everybody knows what we're talking about?
Let's take us through the original narrative here. This is something that was broken on Deadline Hollywood, where the headline is Disney CFO Chistine McCarthy stepping down for family medical leave. Company vet Kevin Lansbury named interim replacement. So not permanent replacement, they're going to be a permanent one, but of course they need a CFO instantly. Chistine McCarthy, a significant figure in Disney's senior management team in recent years, is stepping down and taking a medical leave of absence from the company, and replaced by veteran Disney executive Kevin Lansbury, the EVP and CFO of Disney Parks. So basically, he came from the same division as Chapek, and he will serve as the company's interim CFO effective from July 1st. This was announced by Bob Iger. McCarthy will continue as strategic advisor to the company during her leave and will assist with the process of identifying and onboarding a long-term successor to ensure a smooth and successful transition.
That's something you normally don't get. So that to me kind of tells me that it's a little bit more. This is not like something that is coming from above or somebody was pressuring her, I don't think. If that makes sense.
Now this could be either way. And then the change in the executive suite comes as Disney is completing a significant round of cutbacks, with 7,000 employees being laid off as the company pursues a goal of $5.5 billion in cost savings. McCarthy has also been overseeing the management of expenses for the company's streaming operations. Streaming has drawn increased scrutiny by Wall Street in recent months, with the company conceding it had been overly aggressive in its efforts in 2020 and 2021 to reach global scale and compete more directly with Netflix. Nearly a year ago, McCarthy expressed her concerns to the company's board of directors about missteps by former CEO Bob Chapek. Which missteps? Including his aggressive streaming subscriber targets. In November 2022, Chapek was ousted and Iger returned to the corner office for his second stint running the company. And of course, she was instrumental in that process. And then comes all the quotes about Iger talking about how amazing she is. So I'm going to skip over that completely. Then they talk about how amazing interim CFO Kevin Lansbury is. I'm going to skip over that too, and exactly what he is going to do. And then it's just a summary of her career at Disney. McCarthy joined Disney in 2000 as treasurer and became CFO in 2015. Prior to joining Disney, she was CFO of Imperial Bancorp from 1997 to 2000 and held various executive positions at First Interstate Bancorp from 1981 to 1996. She is a board member at Procter & Gamble and FM Global and is a trustee of the Carnegie Institution for Science. Just for shits and giggles, let's see what the industry insiders are saying at the Deadline Hollywood message board. I see the creatives are in control again and flying this company into the second tower. Sell, 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 says Anonymous on the Deadline Hollywood board.
Ooh, that's nasty.
Yeah, and again, the people posting here, that's what, you want a good laugh and see what the industry really thinks? Head to the Deadline Hollywood boards, because that's where the industry talks are talking. So these are people literally working with these people. Looks like we're getting the Reddit cast-offs like this fucking psycho. This is a quote from another anonymous, presumably a Hollywood insider. And then Jim, so slightly less anonymous, says, man, the comments here are really freaking disgusting. And no duh answers, you must be new here. So yeah, it's not a lot of sympathy to be found in the Deadline Hollywood boards, which is something that many in Hollywood are fearful of. So culture, let's hear your thoughts on this first. What do you think of this? And also, can you tell more about the story about the cancer in her family, and especially with her husband, because that was given as the official reason for her leaving in other outlets? Because Tom has a very good point here. Under normal circumstances, it's very natural to think, oh wow, in this time with Disney just being bombarded from every angle, and this is a person who at one point was groomed to succeed Bob Iger as the CEO. That's absent here. But this is the person who was groomed to take over from him 2 years hence.
Indeed. Yeah. I mean, look, Christine's got a history in her family, and maybe reportedly of herself, with a history of cancer. Medically, she's had a lot of these types of issues in the past. They were handed, they were handled in a completely different way, is probably the best way to say it. This is the timing here. A lot of people are very suspect of, and I mean, I can understand why. She understands where all the financial bodies are buried. So it's very easy to look at the things that are going on, the things that are surrounding this situation, and make some assumptions that perhaps there are some things that she'd rather not be caught up in. Now, either way, if it comes down to the health, her husband's health, it would definitely, you'd have to give her a lot of sympathy and empathy. But if what we find in the Wall Street Journal is an accurate situation where, she and others have clashed because of the very daunting financial challenges that exist for Disney right now, including their, lack of cash on hand, et cetera, and, the financial steps that they've taken that aren't actually going to remedy the situation that they have in acquiring Hulu. I feel like there's a lot missing here to the story, and that this maybe does two things for Christine. It kind of expedites her exit, since she's probably been, slashed off the list for being the next CEO. And it also kind of isolates her and Disney from a lot of financial revelations that she has been involved in that could or may be very embarrassing for Disney. There's a lot to this, but she does, again, I mean, turning it back to the medical situation and taking it on face value. There's, cancer is a serious thing. I mean, in my family, we've dealt with it many, many times. And, there are times when stepping away is probably the healthiest thing to do. So,
yeah. But it says right here, Disney finance chief clashed with top executives before stepping down. This is the headline of the Wall Street Journal, with a byline, company says Christine McCarthy is taking a family medical leave. Move catches associates by surprise.
Yeah.
Mr. Chato, with a headline like that, did the cancer come really, really sudden? Is that something we should accept, or could there be more to this? Again, not to be conspiratorial, but with a headline like that, the Wall Street Journal is kind of asking you to be.
It's an unfair headline, and I think it's personal in a way that's irrelevant. It's not like you should be allowed to quit without giving reasons. And then, like, cancer, almost, I hate to, if you're going to emphasize that is now entering into my dog ate my my term paper territory. Do you understand what I mean?
I don't know. I lost you on the last part.
My dog ate my term paper, like my dog ate my assignment. Like,
Right.
Well, I guess I'm trying to figure. Okay, because this is what I interpreted. You just said you're equating like an excuse like that to an excuse like my husband's dying of cancer.
right.
No. What he's saying,
Well-
saying is that it's an excuse, kind of like my dog ate my homework in a
I
given situation.
Don't see them on the same level.
Well,
Like claiming your grandma just died for the 5th time is much different than dealing with a dying spouse.
no, but I like, my point is, why mention it? Like, it's,
To be
a
fair,
person-
she didn't, because the official narrative from Deadline Hollywood, this is what was told to the industry. The official statement that we just went through from Deadline Hollywood really doesn't go too much into that. It's the Wall Street Journal that has done additional.
That's what I was saying, is like I wasn't going to get too into the weeds with this until I seen this headline.
Yeah.
Because I'm not saying you're wrong so much, Paul, but I just don't want to be quick to go, oh, she's full of shit. She's using it as excuse.
No, and I'm not
thing.
saying that. And I'm not
Yeah, no,
saying
no,
that
to be
it
clear,
was
it was
generated from her.
it's not Paul. It's Wall Street Journal.
Yes.
That's implying that by putting it in the byline. Move catches associates by surprise. You know what that is? That is the Wall Street Journal. This is not us, because all of us here, we were ready to go with this is the official narrative that was being put out there. There is cancer. She has had her bouts with cancer. Her husband has had bouts with cancer. Now it has come back with vengeance. Now we just back off and let her spend the time that she needs with her family in their golden years. That is the position all of us were ready to take. But then the Wall Street Journal, they come and they say in the byline, move catches associates by surprise. So this is on them, because that completely shatters the narrative put forth by Deadline Hollywood.
But you're dealing with two different narratives here, right? You're dealing with the high school newspaper that is Hollywood, right? Whether it be Deadline or Variety or whatever. Yes. They're a trade publication. These are the people that, they're one book away from being famous as far as they know. And so when they write for that industry paper, because that's what that is, it's just it's a rag. They write for that on the daily, and they're going to give you the bare surface level stuff, the Hollywood speak, right? Whereas when you transfer over to the Wall Street Journal, these people actually do the job of a journalist. They'll actually pick up the phone. They'll call people. Wait, hang on. They'll actually call people, right? Their sources, the executives that are in the company, and say, "Hey, what's going on over there? Is everything okay? We're doing a piece right now on what's happening as far as your stability of your leadership, and it looks like with Christine leaving, there's something going on." And I assure you that, speaking on conditions of anonymity, some of their sources gave them actual information. So I'm going to say that with Joe Flint and Mark Maurer, that they actually did their homework, which is a little bit different than doing homework for Hollywood. You understand what I'm saying? That's why we have now reason to question the official Hollywood narrative versus the business narrative that's actually playing out in the background. I think that's the best way to say that.
Exactly, because the Deadline Hollywood, they gave the official reason, the official story, which was that this is just a family leave, and she has graciously offered to be there to assist in the background while they find a permanent replacement. Well, that's not single person here was going to challenge that, but But then you have the Wall Street Journal that did. Yes, sort of.
I'm just saying, like, that's the only thing that has a sticking point to me, because even, Deadline has this article here that's kind of implying some of the things too. And I'm not saying it's not the case, right? Let's just say that up front. My whole thing is everybody else who's stepped away from the Disney company in the last few years, they have not been sticking around to help out like she is. They have been shown the door and swiftly exited. Right? They didn't stick around for anything. They didn't, and here in this article, they even say how basically this seems to have taken people outside the industry by surprise. But it sounds like Iger's even already commented on this. So I don't know, unless this is an older comment, it could very well be. So Bob Iger called McCarthy one of the most admirable financial executives in America, saying her impact on, I think this is an older statement here, but, I'm not so quick to like say that it's, because that's the thing is she wasn't given time off to seek other employment, right? Like it's more so she's just probably retiring and dealing with this while also still dealing with Disney. I don't want to be quick to say that there's something nefarious going on, is all I'm saying. I don't think she's as out of the picture as we think she is, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Oh, no. I mean, it was made very clear that she was also going to help select her successor. That makes an awful lot of sense. And again, you can do an awful lot, if you step away and you become an outside advisor, because again, that's part of the story here. And I look, I would, as much as it's terrible, I think I would rather prefer that she was stepping away to take care of family stuff, right? Than have any other nefarious, things playing out in the background. And again, as Andre pointed out, I was willing to accept, what's coming out of the trade paper, and just wishing her and her family the best, because that's what you're supposed to do in civil society. But, with the Wall Street Journal's coming at it from a different perspective, it does draw a question. I'm gonna say this, cancer's a heck of an excuse to take time away from working, if not just quit altogether. So this is just what it is. As far as the financial aspects of this goes, this is coming at a terrible time for Disney, for whatever reason that she's stepping away. And if it is because of, again, all these skeletons that we know are placed about, there's, which again, I really don't want to lean into, but we're being fed two contradicting narratives to a certain extent. Would you not agree?
Absolutely. I mean, that's the thing that stands out here, because here you, again, Deadline Hollywood, official narrative, Wall Street Journal challenges that official narrative. I was ready to accept the official narrative from Deadline Hollywood. Seems very clear, very thought out, but it just got a torpedo in the bow from the Wall Street Journal. And I don't think that they would write what they did without having done their due diligence and research.
Yeah.
Given Disney's, to me, this is a case where both things can be true at once. She has obviously had multiple bouts with cancer before, both herself and in her family.
Yeah.
Maybe it's gotten worse now, and that is why she decides to step back.
Yeah.
This does not have to be in conflict with the financial situation in Disney is so dire, and she was part of it getting there, and she's no longer wanted there. I mean, this is a place where both those two actually align pretty perfectly, where it's a mutual decision that now is a good time for me to step back for health reasons, and it's a good time for the company for you to step back for health reasons. If you catch my drift.
Yeah, I can see that as a more of a scenario, but just the fact that she's like, I get it. They might just be saying it publicly to save face that she's going to be involved in this, that, and the other. But to me, that's the only point, and I don't want to be quick to dogpile on somebody, especially when cancer's involved and shit like that.
That I do believe that she will have some kind of role, because she has been so instrumental in Iger's return and everything. And people like this, they don't just go away. I do not believe for a second that she was like shit canned and she's gone now. No. I do believe that she may have been told that now is the time for you to officially step back, especially before the next earnings call, because by then we need to be able to show that human sacrifice has been made. At the same time, you've been here the whole time. You helped Iger come back. You're an acolyte. We'll take care of you. So of course, you'll have some say in your replacement and everything, because you still know where the bodies are buried. Again, this is a case where basically literally everything can be true at once. And at the same time, Disney's financial situation is a complete and utter disaster. The one fundamentally responsible for that is Bob Iger. But McCarthy should never have allowed it to get to the position where it is now.
Yeah, I mean, again, unless culture or Paul thinks otherwise, I'm just at this point where I'm not ready to go like, oh, here it is, like another one bites the dust kind of thing. This one doesn't feel to me like a swift exit like the other ones did.
Yeah. No, this again, to me, this feels like both things are true at once.
Well, and again, Tender Warrior pointed out in the chat, and I think it's accurate to say that her contract was up next year, so she was going to have to, negotiate anyway. And I mean, look, I think Andre's right. I think both things can be true at the same time. I think that it's best for her to move off of this situation. The job is people pointed out in the chat and elsewhere. This job is incredibly stressful. You're managing the finances of a conglomerate, that is vertically integrated, that is just an absolute behemoth, and you've been getting things wrong, and the amount of things you're getting wrong is only increasing, not quite exponentially, but more often than not you're getting it wrong financially. And I'm going to introduce an idea here that maybe sounds conspiratorial, but perhaps her stepping out of this before they are forced to, the judge is forced to reveal the names of all of the people that were involved in that little crypto trading scheme. I think there could be some legs to that as well. I mean, Disney's been exposed in a lot of various areas financially, and this is starting to, like I said, if she's got stuff going on with her family and she's got all these other responsibilities, my suspicion is it's all the same thing. And
double whammy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Where basically both narratives are true at once. So the Deadline Hollywood narrative isn't necessarily untrue. There's just more to it. And Wall Street Journal just may have given us a peek into that more to it. Either way, for Disney, I would say that this is actually good news. Because not to be disrespectful or anything like that, but the fact of the matter is that Disney is in a terrible position right now. And the Hulu buyout that they will be forced to participate in, that's actually an existential threat for the company. And all of this happened on, first and foremost, Iger's watch, but every single one of Iger's enablers shares responsibility for where the company is currently at. Chistine McCarthy is one of those enablers. She was one of those that made it possible for him to buy Fox, which is the worst acquisition Disney ever did. We can say that now. And that's also one that was instrumental in them getting in the Hulu hot waters where they are right now. So any kind of change in the leadership from those that really have driven the company into the ground is a good move, I would say. But of course, it's not going to help before Iger leaves, and quite a few people in the board, because it took a lot of effort from a lot of people to get Disney into its current predicament. And those people will all have to be replaced, presumably by better ones, before the situation gets any better. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here. And we have Valiant Renegade in the chat. If you have the opportunity to hop in, you're of course most welcome to. And Valiant says, I think she just said, this isn't worth it. I'd rather be with my ailing husband. And she amicably resigned. The fact that she's agreed to stay and help with Successor is very telling. And yeah, as I said, this is a case where both things can be true at once.
Yeah, that's the part that stuck out to me too, Valiant. I mean, because like I said, when they exited Chapek, everybody else in these situations so far has been showed the door and not even given a chance to think about it. What was the name of that one dude that got ousted during Chapek's reign?
Rice, Peter Rice.
Yeah, Peter Rice. He was another one that was just like, see ya. nothing about a successor or anything like that. Victoria Alonso, same fucking thing.
Yeah, but this would never happen because this woman, she's Iger's inner circle.
I know, and that's the reason why I'm not so quick to another reason why I'm not so quick to just be like, oh yeah, it's definitely an excuse.
Yeah,
I mean, unless they're getting her out of the line of fire, that's a totally different scenario. Because I mean, there's people bringing up some of the FTX stuff in the chat, and again, as far as the company goes, the company has not found, at least they haven't publicly stated there's any connections. Now, people, that's a different story. Bob Iger's name was mentioned. I would imagine Chistine McCarthy might actually have some ties to FTX and stuff like that. I'm not saying that has anything to do with this. I'm just saying it might be a clean and easy way to get somebody out of the situation that, out of the line of fire or whatever, like I was saying. But anyway.
Well, and again, I mean, the judge in that particular case, I'm going to not refer to it directly, but in that particular case has really been hiding the people that are on that list. So, that's incredibly telling that we have not found out all of the exposure that's there, whether it's individuals or companies. That is a very strange thing that's being done in service of some people that have obviously got some very deep pockets. Go ahead.
It's so good that the courts will protect the freedom of those corporate overlords that are and stuff like that. We should all feel good about that, I think. Valiant Renegade also says Bob Iger would not want to remove a CFO right now.
Right.
It creates investor angst at the worst time. This was likely entirely her decision to step aside.
That's what I was thinking. Yep.
Well, yeah. Very good point.
Valiant and I are on the same page on this one, it seems like. But again, we don't know the specifics. I don't want to get too conspiratorial at the same time just because of the fragile situation, I guess.
The reason we even discuss anything else is the Wall Street Journal or Washington, the publication that challenged the narrative. But no, I am in agreement that at the very least, it's a mutually agreed upon decision that I think we can agree on. And just to end that topic with a related super chat, GEC812 says for $5 I'd trust the financial press over the gossip news sites based on readership. Investors need correct information to make profitable decisions. That is true to a point. Keep in mind, though, that even the financial press, they don't write anything for the benefit of the average little saver with some investments. There's typically some incentive behind their big stories as well. That just needs to be kept in mind. But I do see and agree with that point as a general thing.
This clip was taken from Midnight's Edge in the Morning, which streams live every Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time on the Midnight's Edge main channel. There you can send in your live questions and comments before clips and full stream replays are uploaded to Midnight's Edge live archives. We are also on Twitter, Rumble, Odyssey and Facebook, so smash that like, help share, subscribe and join us.